intuition was craving. You love it, you hate it. Now let me take the lead. Know you wanna play with me.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Riding the Reaper. We are here today with a Audi Q7, 2007 Audi Q7. This is the 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged, producing 237 bhp and 550 newton meters of torque. She does have a Tiptronic gearbox as well. This is the 6-speed automatic, and we do also have flappy paddle gearboxes. I'm out here with my other friend, long friend, Mr. Grant, aka the German. The German, and we drive. We're driving German, right?
Yeah, Audi's German.
Audi German. We
good old German engineering.
Good old German engineering. So let's take this beauty out on the road and see what she does. All this beeping and shit.
Yeah, well, safety first, you know how it is.
Safety first. See, we promote safety on the channel. Safety first. See, ping, ping the whole time. Crazy ass shit.
Just letting us know we're on our way.
Right, so we got Ginger Ninja with us as well. He's just getting some shots. Holy shit. When she spools up, she actually moves, eh?
Yep, you just gotta get it to that sweet spot.
Just that sweet spot, because like I was saying earlier, she takes a while to how can I say, to boost up, to spool up. But once you hit that sweet spot at a certain RPM, then she just takes off like a fucking rocket. She feels quite fast when you're sitting in the car, for the size of it, because she's pushing out that 550 newton meters of torque, which is comes in handy with a car this size. The interior for 2007, like I was telling Grant earlier, it's got really nice interior. You know, the normal standard 2007 interior, I remember the Ford Focus having this as well. But we got some nice polished wood finish, and nice, like almost like a brushed steel kind of look or effect all around the vents and around the dash. You'll see it in the cinematics. Nice brushed, almost like a wood finish on the doors. Nice material on the roof. You got your lights here on this side. It's almost like a map light kind of a thing, like the Mustang has. The dash is very cool. It's nice and bright. You see all the nice colors. It's got this orangey glow or hue to it, and it's got a huge amount of space in the back on the back seats. I mean, Ginger Ninja can basically use that as a couch. It's so big at the back. You can use it to sleep on and shit. The seats are really nice. It's like almost like a pleather, like a fake leather kind of effect to it, but it sits really comfy. It's really nice, really down into the seat, and it's really good. How's she drive so far in terms of how can I say, braking and launch and takeoff and those kinds of things?
Well, as we said just now with the turbo lag, you know, once you get going, she's flipping quick off the bat. Moves really quickly for a 2.2 ton vehicle, but it's that beginning stage
just to get to that sweet spot,
get your foot halfway to 3/4 of the way down before she starts actually taking off from standstill. But as I say, once she's going, she's like a rocket. I mean, we can push it again once the robot changes, but otherwise,
I mean, it's that
easy.
Quattro. It's that Quattro that comes into play, that 4-wheel drive system, and it pulls that entire weight on all 4 wheels at the same time because of the Quattro system. And I think that's what really helps it get off the line with being so heavy. And I mean, like we were talking about the torque, the 550 newton meters. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of torque. So she's a very torquey girl. But I must say, I really enjoy the ride. It's a nice, comfortable ride, like you come to expect from all these newer vehicles. Like I was saying, the 2005s and up, they got this really nice ride in terms of suspension and those kinds of things. But she's really comfy, really good all-around vehicle. If you're looking at getting something like this for you know, a family vehicle, it's got huge amounts of boot space, so you can pack all your shit when you go camping and when you're going on a long ass trip or something.
Or the new TV you bought.
She's got huge amount of passenger space, so you can easily fit another 3 people in the back. And here in front, you have this huge amount of space to yourself. I'm sitting quite comfortably. My legs are stretched out. I'm not cramped. Even the driver's side seat, the center console straight down the middle, and it gives the driver and the passenger each their own amount of space, and it's really, really good. You got your climate control, you know, all those nifty little features that these newer cars have. You got a nice little screen here in front, shows you your stations, your radio stations, and when you change the climate control and those kinds of things. You actually got dual climate control, which I didn't see, so you can set your climate as the passenger, and the driver can set his climate to create a nice little driving space for you and a nice little space for the passenger as well. And I think here at the back, in the center console, we've got a nice little climate control as well for the backseat passengers. And I must say, we've got a nice little mirror here with a light, so you can put on your makeup if you're a chick passenger, and I can put on my makeup when I do these shoots. And you got your handles, got your airbags, so you know when it comes to Audi, you got your extreme amount of safety features on this car. So all round airbags right around. You got your airbags in the side consoles, here in the side, so in the doors, in the dash. So huge amount of how can I say, safety features. ABS, EBD, you know, all those normal safety features that you come to expect out of these cars. And I must say, for the size of this vehicle and being a boat, she's actually got quite an immense amount of power, and she's really, really nice.
And as we were saying just now, I mean, you know, with the ABS and EBD and all that, her braking system, you can literally just tap the brake and hit the windscreen. You know, it's kind of easy braking. You don't need to apply much pressure, so that's also great.
That comes in handy. She's even got the electronic handbrake. So we were actually struggling when we climbed in the car at first, trying to look at how to engage the brake, because we know how to release it, the e-brake. And you were saying it was the Mercedes that has the same feature, hey?
Mercedes has the same,
has the same, where it's a little pedal in the side that's almost like a footrest when you drive these automatics, but it's one of those, and you push it in, and that's actually to engage the e-brake. But yeah, I can't seem to be critical. The only thing I can be critical about is wow, I can't even decide on anything to be critical about. Have you got any criticism?
To be honest with you, the only thing that I can honestly say that I don't like, and it's a preference from having driven smaller vehicles for most of my life, the mirrors are a bit too big for me. I know it's a weird criticism to have.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you can see the entire road, and it can at times be a little bit
distracting. Yes, I was going to say that.
I mean, it's almost like you've got elephant ears on the side of the fucking car, you know?
Yeah.
Get a bit of power going there around the circle. Straight. But one thing I can quite honestly say is, with all of the good points about it, she's very easy to drive in terms of her steering. You know, you can literally just give it a little bit of a
tug here and there,
and it's almost
just
like,
gets going.
Considering that, as I said, it's a 2.2 ton vehicle,
you
would expect her to be more clunky and chunky.
Yeah.
But Audi has got the steering
down to a T, eh?
Yeah.
I would just watching you drive, I can see that you're not putting much effort into the steering, and I really like the steering wheel. I know Ginger Ninja always gets into this with me. He keeps telling me, in all your videos, you talk about the steering wheel. I like a good steering wheel. I like a good grip to a steering wheel, and even the shape of the steering wheel I like. I really liked in the previous, so I'm going to put a card up here, in the previous video when I did the 2013 Ford Focus, you can see at one point I was speaking about the steering wheel, and I don't think I've driven another car that steering wheel feels as good in your hands. Even the Golf R, I'll put the card to that video up here, the Golf R steering wheel didn't even feel as good. I really liked the steering wheel of the Ford Focus, the 2013 Ford Focus, and this one actually reminds me a lot of the Golf R steering wheel. It looks very similar, just with the Audi symbol in the middle and those kinds of things. And I know the Golf R had a bit more of the buttons and so on. This one doesn't have. But the buttons can get a bit distracting on the steering wheel at times, don't you think? Like,
too many buttons, nowhere to put your hands.
Nowhere to put your hands. I really don't like these newer cars with all the buttons. Buttons are nice. It's a nice thing to have control at your fingertips while you're driving, but it gets a bit distracting at times. But yeah, I really liked the 2013 steering wheel, and then I would say second would be the Golf R, and then this third. The steering wheel is really nice. It's got a nice finish to it. It's got a nice grip to it, and yeah, I really liked that they gave you the option of flappy paddles. So you got your flappy paddle option and the Tiptronic, so you can change gears using the gear lever as well. So you don't just have the flappy paddle option and just automatic.
Talking about the gearbox, if I can interject for a second. The one criticism that I do truly have is if you put your foot down, the gearbox takes too long to gear up.
Yeah.
So I get you trying high revs, which is fine. Once you get to that power band though, the time it takes for it to shift, it's almost like it disengages for too long before it re-engages the next gear.
Like how the Mustang was.
Yeah, the Mustang was when the Mustang was giving the gearbox issues.
So that for me is the one major issue that I have with it. You know, you expect a more seamless change from a company like Audi with one of their flagship vehicles.
Exactly.
So that's the only major criticism aside from the side mirrors that I have about this car.
Yeah, the only criticism I might have now that you brought up the gearbox taking so long to respond is that I understand how a turbo works, but nowadays with these newer cars there's almost little to none of that turbo lag, and this one being from 2007, the turbo lag is still very much an issue. So I mean, that second gear we had 2000 RPM, third, fourth, you actually literally have to put your foot flat in order for you to build up enough RPMs for that turbo to kick in, and actually for this thing to really start moving.
I'm gonna slow down a bit here, so let's get a bit of that.
Let's check. What are we doing right now?
It took about, I don't know, 2 seconds for that turbo to kick in once I put my foot flat.
Exactly. So we put our foot flat and she stayed on the one spot, no wheel spin, no nothing, just for all that power to be pushed through to the wheels. And what were we doing there? We were doing a what?
Well, when I kicked it in, we were down at about 40, so
we were doing a 40 roll basically. 40 roll third gear, and we put it flat, and with these automatics, they how can I say, they get confused when you actually put the power down. They change up a gear instead of, you know, dropping a gear and then putting the power down. So that's where it gets confusing. Like the Mustang did that as well. And what it does is it goes into a higher gear. Let's say we were in third, it goes boop into fourth, and then she drops in power, where you're actually putting your foot down to get power. She drops in power, and then she then takes off. And then when she takes off, she drops back down into third, because then she's realizing, oh shit, there's no power band, so I have to drop back down a gear to get that power actually to start moving, because that's what you want. Because I'm feeling you putting the pedal, you're putting the throttle flat to the floor, and I'm changing up a gear, but I should be actually not either dropping a gear or staying at that gear, depending on the RPMs that you are in, because you don't want to blow your engine, and you also don't want to be in such a low gear you're dropping the foot flat and nothing's happening. So yeah, I think that's the issue we have with the automatics. But
that's what I love about the flappy paddle and the Tiptronic.
There we go.
Because you can then control
your own power. So that's the nice thing, is you'll be able to control your own power with the Tiptronic or the flappy paddles. So yeah, that's what I really like about this car, is that it gives you that option to, you know, change on your own instead of just letting the gearbox handle everything. But it becomes a bit difficult where you put your foot down and then you have to change with the flappy paddles or the Tiptronic. and it becomes a bit difficult when you're already putting your foot down and then you're switching over to flappy paddles and so on, because by the time you put your foot down, the gearbox kind of responds already. So you know, like you were saying, it takes a while to respond. So now you're trying to, it gets confusing to the car, where you're trying to put your power down and you have to gear down, and the car's like, no, we're in automatic, so I'm gonna gear. What the fuck is going on here? What are we doing?
40 at the moment.
40.
If I can find a spot to go around.
We've got a Toyota Lanzo in front of us, and this guy decides that today's Sunday, we're gonna do a Sunday cruise.
On a Saturday,
and he's duck chilled. He's just, I'm gonna take my time here today.
1.5
1.5. Woohoo! He's probably pushing it. I don't know. WeBuyCars.coza.
Well, there you go. That's why
WeBuyCars.coza. You guys are you should really get better drivers to drive your vehicles.
Great advertising for your brand.
Yeah, because this guy should be driving this thing like a race car, and he's driving it like 85-year-old that has no feeling in his legs.
There's no ways I can sit behind this guy.
Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, my 2007 1.4.
My Golf is broken and I can.
Guys,
Ginger
I'm having to
Ninja.
brake to not rear in this guy.
Ginger Ninja's fucking broken ass Golf will take this thing on a straight. Good God.
No ways. I'm gonna turn off here.
Yeah, turn around, dude.
Otherwise,
is
you're gonna
crazy.
be watching me murder somebody today.
This guy's gonna roll this car, dude.
So, and that's also another thing, you know, petrol versus diesel. Yeah, most of the time you can get extra range out of the diesel, but if I'm honest, I'd rather take a petrol engine over a diesel engine any day.
Yeah.
Especially because, you know, with the spark plugs in the petrol engine, it seems to help the fuel air mixture burn quicker than the glow plugs on the diesel.
Yeah, and I think that's what comes into play with the diesel is, yes, you get more range because the diesel burns longer and it burns less in terms of the combustion with the petrol. The petrol burn quicker, but it also give you more power in terms of bhp, where this, obviously with the 550 newton meters of torque that comes from that diesel, the diesel engine, and I think that's what really helps it out, like I was saying, in terms of getting off the line, even with that Quattro system.
Okay, so we are doing 20 and I'm about to put my foot flat.
Let's do 20.
Okay, so we got up to 70 before I had to brake now.
So 20 to 70, not bad. But also, she doesn't push you back into the seat like
It's very boring.
Yeah, it's a very boring power band in terms of takeoff.
Okay,
Like,
let's test it. 0 to 70. It's a green light, so I'm going. Coming up for 100 and 100.
it's a very smooth.
Yeah.
0.
0 to 100, very smooth. But anything, the takeoff, everything was just very smooth. There was none of that. Like in the
jerking.
Golf. No, that jerking. You know, in the Golf R, you like sitting in your seat, and then it's like, okay, take off, and you do this. It pushes you into the seat. This doesn't do
I
that.
actually like the pushing up back into the seat. I like the feeling.
That feeling, yeah, the G-forces that pushes you back. This doesn't necessarily have that. I don't know if it's because of the huge body, or if it's because of the turbo lag or the Quattro system. I don't know, but you feel the turbo lag though. Don't get me wrong, but you don't feel that G's pushing you back into the vehicle.
What I want to do now is I'm going to take us into the back roads here. There's a few speed bumps around, so we can also see how the suspension holds up.
Holds up there.
A lot
Yeah.
of bumps.
I must say, I really like the brakes on this though. The brakes
are good.
The brake system on this is really good. They really went out of their way to you know, get this car to stop. If you quickly. If you really want to stop, you can stop.
Vehicle.
Yeah, bringing up the weight and so on of the vehicle, to stop a 2.5 ton vehicle, it's going to take a lot of brakes, you know what I mean? And especially with all four wheels using the power at the same time.
Exactly, especially depending on what speed you're doing. I mean,
Exactly.
trying to get a thing this size to stop on a dime is
Yeah,
not easy.
it's not easy at all. So we're just coming up on some speed bumps now, so we can check, you know, feel the suspension and how that handles it.
Stopping, yes.
Don't stop there. So
that was going over at about 20 k's.
yeah, and that was nothing at all. It didn't feel that. Didn't feel that at all. Didn't feel much. It actually felt great.
We'll go over at about 30. See with that 10 kilometer difference. Even that wasn't too bad.
Even that wasn't bad, eh?
It's a decent suspension. I mean, obviously SUVs are supposed to be 4x4 off-road vehicles, but with Audi, I think they were going more for your everyday family vehicle.
Yeah, this is more a family vehicle than anything else, in terms of space and luxury, and with the dual climate controls and those kind of things, they were trying to give everyone a nice piece of the pie, kind of a thing.
And so you're not really going to take this thing off-roading much.
No, definitely not.
But even so, the suspension is great, I would say.
Yeah, I really think it's really smooth. It's really,
you don't feel like
you're going over bumps and stuff. Yeah, not at all. Choo. With that progressive springs now, you go over a small little leaf in the road and stuff, and it just flies all over the place. You like this in the car.
And I think that's also something that gives us a bit of an advantage with it being so much higher off the ground. You know, it gives it the extra clearance for the dampeners to actually be able to do their work
properly. Yeah, I would, because I mean, this car is stock standard. It's not lowered, it's not anything, so you really feel those dampeners, like you were saying, working, and everything's in place where it needs to be. So yeah, it's doing its job quite well.
And I mean, let's be honest, these roads that we're going down aren't exactly in the best condition.
Yeah,
but
so
you know, you don't really notice them as much as you do on
what is it? Get your shit in order. Like we were with the 2013 the Ford Focus, we were going down Guru's roads, and those are even worse, so don't worry about it, guys. Those things had potholes for days, and I could probably put my arm this deep in a pothole. So yeah, this at least doesn't have that many potholes.
Look, the other thing that I'll give this car credit for is its fuel economy is brilliant. I mean, we've been driving around for a while now, and this fuel gauge has moved maybe a millimeter, if that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really moved.
So fuel economy for a car this size, Quattro system, pushing the power to all four wheels, turbo. So yeah, for all those factors that come into play, fuel economy really good.
From what I'm reading, yeah, it looks like we've been driving for about 33 minutes right?
And dropped about a millimeter.
Yeah,
and we were pushing it every now and again as well, so
not too shabby
in terms of fuel economy.
The nice thing that this thing has in terms of luxury, as well as we were checking it out, it's got a Boss surround sound system.
There we go. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
It's got a decent quality stereo for anybody who loves music and jamming it loud.
Yeah.
Good for the time when your wife irritates you and you just want to put your foot down and turn the music up. You know?
No, but the surround sound system, we were listening to it a bit earlier. I don't want to turn it up in case of copyrights, but it's got a really good system. It's really loud. When we started the car up, the system came on, and I was really impressed with it. And it was on like minimal, I think it was on 15 or something, and it was like really loud. So the sound system in this is really good. Audi obviously went out of their way to make sure that you got a really nice sounding system in the car, because like I said, this car is all about that luxury, and that everyone's getting a piece of the pie when you sit in this car. If you're sitting in the back, you got your own climate control, you got your speakers in the back as well, so you're getting a nice surround sound system in terms of sound. And the driver's got his own piece of the car, nicely situated,
which makes it change from the other vehicles we've been driving.
Yeah, exactly. Console and everything being in place here for you. There's nothing really that's out of reach, where you actually physically have to be like, oh shit, I have to go and lean over to get that or whatever. Everything's all the cars that we've been reviewing now lately is nicely everything's driver centric, so everything's around the driver. The driver doesn't need to worry about anything. Everything's on the steering wheel and sensor consoles and those kinds of things. You hear that turbo lag though, like you put your foot down and the car's not moving at all. So it's definitely that turbo lag. You can actually hear that nice little turbo spoolie boy that's spooling up. But after you put your foot down and the short space of road or time that you have, you just take your foot back off before the turbo even spools up, before the car even takes off. So yeah, but I must say, guys, this has really been a nice and easy drive. There's been no complaints so far besides what we mentioned: the huge ass mirrors, the turbos that's not spooling up, losing RPMs, it's losing power before it actually puts the power down. So that turbo lag is really annoying. And also the gearbox not engaging as nice or as smoothly and as quick as you want it to engage. But all around, really good car if you're looking for something, how can I say, family orientated. It's got everything where you want it in terms of quality and in terms of luxury and those kinds of things. Anything you guys want to mention before we go?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I think we pretty much got that done. So anyway, guys, putting up to the house now. This is Ginger Ninja and the German and Riding the Reaper. Peace out.